We're back live with Congressman Joe Kennedy. Congressman, your colleague, Congressman Richard Neal, he was here on OTR recently, and he said that another stimulus package is needed. What do you think absolutely needs to be in this bill, and what do you think is a reasonable bottom line cost? So a lot needs to be in this bill, and let's start with American families. One, I called for a direct cash transfer to of $4,000 for every American making less than $100,000 a year. The Senate only put in $1,200. We need to make sure that individuals are getting more money so that they can afford to pay their bills, pay their credit card bill, their rent, their mortgage. That relief is critically important. Second, we need to have far more support still for small businesses. Janet, the rough estimate that I've heard is that small businesses are going to need is well over $1 trillion. We've only passed about 670 billion. There's still going to be businesses out there that are in dire need of support. They need help. Third, when you look at our healthcare sector, they're still on the front lines here being devastated by the crush of this virus. They're going to need help and support in a number of different ways. And then finally, state and local governments. The immediate forecast for our Commonwealth is a shortfall of somewhere between 10 and 15% for this fiscal year, ending June 30th. For next fiscal year, it's somewhere on the order of about 25%. That is going to be economically devastating, not just for Massachusetts, but for every single other state in our country and every municipality. The fact that Mitch McConnell is playing politics with this is shameful. Think of what state budgets do. One, that's health, right? 40% of our state budget goes to mass health and health care. In the midst of a pandemic, we're trying to cut that. Think of the contracts for firefighters and police officers and frontline first responders. Think of what money goes to education, transportation that we so desperately need in the state. What of this are we supposed to cut? As you know, the White House this morning said that they are calling for a pause period in any other stimulus package. What's your reaction to that? From the same White House officials that said that this was going to be a minor economic blip and that this all of a sudden would be, the virus would disappear, I don't give a whole lot of credence to that, but I will say it is reflective of a disconnect between Washington, D.C., between this White House and what families across this country are feeling. They need help. The quest to reopen this country is coming from families that need help, that want to go back to work, that are concerned about making ends meet. We need to make sure that those concerns are addressed so that people can still focus on their health and make sure that we get in front of the spread of this virus. So as you can see, there are three of us across the screen here. We're what we call boxed up in 3 different locations. We spend a lot of time in this kind of communication. You've been spending a lot of time on social media, a lot these days, with your 2 adorable children. So maybe we should ask them or your wife, but since you are here, we'd love an honest answer. Who's more frustrated, the kids or you? Wow, good question. The one I got stumped on. Look, in all honesty here, so our 2-year-old James is, for the most part, I think thinks all of this is great. Our 4-year-old, and I think like many parents out there with young kids, this is wearing on her, right? She misses her friends. She misses going to school. She needs that social action and interaction engagement. And to the extent that that falls on mom and dad to try to fill that space, while mom and dad are both working, it's hard and it's uncomfortable because you can see your kids chafing and frustrated and not really old enough to understand exactly what's going on, but old enough to know that something isn't right. And you feel the inadequacy of a parent, and a huge appreciation for our teachers that fill this gap and fill that enrichment for our children. And then you have a candidate for Senate, somebody that's trying to be a full-time parent, a full-time candidate, and a full-time member of Congress, knowing that you're not doing, trying to balance all 3 of those is hard, and a wife that thank God, is willing to put up with all of it. So, bless you.
Congressman, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Our guest this morning has been